All right, let's talk about something huge. We're going to dive into what is honestly the single most important relationship on our entire planet. It's this incredible planetary breathing cycle. And guess what? It connects every single living thing. Yep, that includes you. So let me ask you something. What do you and a tree have in common? Now, this isn't some kind of riddle, I promise. The answer is actually the key to this massive, life-giving exchange that literally powers our whole world. Okay, so to really get our heads around this whole exchange, we've got to start with the basics. Let's look at what's in the air we're all breathing, like right this very second.
So, you look at our atmosphere, and you might be surprised that most of it is nitrogen. We're talking almost 80%. But you know, the gases that are really crucial for life, they're just a small piece of the pie. The real action, the story we're following, is all about the back and forth between oxygen and that teeny tiny sliver of carbon dioxide.
Right, but how do we even know these invisible gases exist? I mean, you can't see them. Well, scientists have some pretty cool and surprisingly simple tests. For example, if you have a glowing splint, like a little wooden stick that's just smoldering, oxygen will make it burst back into flame. And carbon dioxide? It'll turn the stuff called lime water all cloudy and milky. It's like finding their chemical fingerprints, proving they're there.
Okay, so we've established we need oxygen. It's kind of non-negotiable, right? But where does all of it come from? Well, the answer is humming away inside what you could call the planet's great green engine.
And that engine's name? Photosynthesis. It sounds complicated, but at its heart, it's just this amazing process where plants use sunlight to whip up their own food. Seriously, you can think of every plant out there as a tiny, super efficient, solar-powered factory. It's incredible. So, how does this factory actually work? Well, it's a few steps. First, the plant gathers its raw materials. It pulls in carbon dioxide from the air and sucks up water from the soil. Then, chlorophyll, that's the stuff that makes leaves green, acts like a solar panel, soaking up energy from the sun. That energy then kicks off a chemical reaction that turns the CO2 and water into glucose. That's a sugar, basically. It's the plant's food. And here's the part that's so important for us. The waste product, the exhaust from this factory, it's oxygen, pure oxygen released right into the air. And if you boil it all down, you get this simple little equation. It's basically the recipe for life on Earth, right here. You take some carbon dioxide, add water, throw in a little sunlight for energy, and voila! You get food in the form of glucose, and you get oxygen. It's just so elegant, so powerful. But why is this one process such a huge deal? Well, it comes down to two absolutely critical things. Number one, it creates the food that's at the very bottom of almost every single food chain on the planet. And number two, it pumps out the oxygen that we all need to breathe, keeping that delicate balance in our atmosphere just right. All right, so plants make the food. Got it. But how do we, and hey, even the plants themselves, actually use that food to do stuff? Well, that brings us to the flip side of this whole equation, releasing that energy. This second process is called respiration. And get this, it is happening inside every single one of your cells right now as you're listening to this. It's how your body takes that glucose from your food, combines it with the oxygen you just breathed in, and turns it into pure, usable energy. The energy for everything, walking, talking, even just thinking. And the steps here are basically a perfect mirror image of photosynthesis. Your cells take in the fuel, that's the glucose and oxygen, then they break down the glucose, which unlocks a burst of energy, and the leftovers, the waste products, you guessed it, carbon dioxide and water, the very same stuff you exhale with every breath. So check out the equation for this. Glucose plus oxygen gives you carbon dioxide, water, and the main event, energy. Does that look familiar? It should. It is the exact perfect reverse of the photosynthesis equation we just saw. And that perfect reversal, that's the absolute key. It creates this perfect symbiotic relationship, a partnership that pretty much defines what it means to be alive on this planet. Yeah, when you put them side by side like this, it just clicks. It becomes crystal clear. Look, photosynthesis uses carbon dioxide and water to store energy. Respiration uses glucose and oxygen to release that same energy. One happens only in plants and only in the light. The other, it's happening in plants and animals 24/7. They're perfect dance partners, perfect opposites. And this, right here, is the beautiful heart of the whole cycle. One process is trash is literally the other one's treasure. The waste from one is the fuel for the other. The oxygen that plants release as waste, we need it to live. The carbon dioxide that we exhale as waste, plants need that to live. It's like the entire planet is taking one slow, steady breath, an inhale and an exhale. It's a beautiful system, but what happens when that perfect, elegant balance gets thrown off? What happens when it breaks? Well, unfortunately, that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Human activities, especially things like burning fossil fuels for energy and cutting down huge forests, are seriously messing with this incredibly delicate cycle. And the direct result of all that? We're pumping way more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than all the plants on Earth can possibly absorb. The scales have been tipped, and they're not in our favor. And this isn't some small thing. It has massive consequences. All that extra CO2 in the air acts like a heat-trapping blanket around the Earth, causing global warming. And that, in turn, leads to melting ice caps, rising sea levels. We're seeing habitats disappear for animals like polar bears, and a huge spike in crazy weather events, more intense storms, longer droughts, brutal heat waves, all across the globe. Look, this isn't just about the planet's health far away. It's about our health, right here, right now. The very same things that release all that CO2 also spew other dangerous pollutants into the air, stuff like carbon monoxide, which actually reduces the oxygen your blood can carry, or tiny particles that can cause really serious lung diseases like bronchitis and asthma. The problem is, quite literally, as close as your next breath. Which really brings us to the final big thought here. For millions and millions of years, the Earth has kept this incredible, life-sustaining balance going, this perfect dance between photosynthesis and respiration. So the real question we have to ask ourselves now is, what's our role in protecting it?